You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Dear Lieutenant Ioming, thank you for the letter about your recent purchase of Become a Jedi in 28 Days or Your Money Back. We always enjoy receiving feedback about our products, though I was sorry to hear about your difficulties. First of all, the provided lightsaber tube is not supposed to come with a kyber crystal included. Kyber crystals are very personal objects, and for optimum results, we recommend sourcing your own from an ethically appropriate supplier. We also feel it appropriate, after feedback from other customers, to advise you that the lightsaber is only intended to carry one kyber crystal, and is not required nor advisable to collect one of every colour before you attempt to use them. A single colour is sufficient. Secondly, the chapter on using the Force to influence the will of another person is only intended to be used for purposes of light entertainment, and with the explicit consent of everyone involved. We cannot take responsibility for any abuse of the information within the chapter. While we are very pleased to learn of your success in convincing your child that you have stolen their nose, we are very hopeful that with renewed effort you are able to convince them it has been returned. We would also like to make it very clear that we do not endorse your child's siblings' use of the taunt weak-minded to describe their unfortunate situation. I have attached details for a helpline to the end of this message in case you need further support. Finally, we were as surprised as everyone by the recent fall of the Jedi Order and the rise of the Empire. The unprecedented nature of the war is, sadly, not included in our warranty, and we regret that any consequences of the deployment of inquisitorial squads falls outside of our jurisdiction. For legal reasons, we are unable to provide details of any local sympathetic shelters. For reasons I am unable to print here, but which I would like to assure you are intended in your own interests, and not as some form of veiled warning, I strongly advise you not to contact your local media to publicise your current feelings of dissatisfaction. I have also enclosed a voucher for 10% off the next book in our series, Become a Stormtrooper in 28 Days or Your Money Back. Best wishes, by No Wrench, on Rat Publishing.
Hello everybody and welcome to yet another one-shot. I hope you're not tired of them yet because there's still a few more to go. And if you are tired of them by now, then there is no joy in your heart and you'll just have to deal with that. Soz, that's the way it is. I don't make the rules. This is a charming little story that I have entitled For a Few Credits More, the second part in the Good, the Bad and the Furry trilogy. I am rejoined by some wonderful, wonderful people, and they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves and who they're playing now.
I am Ben. I am playing the Hark colonist Marshal Thenis Clutch, who has decided to take up Mynock hunting as a profession.
Leslie?
I am playing the glorious Aubergine Gladiolus Tamello, also known as Tam or Auber, depending on who you're talking at. And she, as a courier, has continued to courier, just in a different location. A less muddy location, which has been a blessing.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm playing TY8N. He's a droid known as Tyburn. The last we saw of him, he was just ahead after foolishly trying to attack an ATST. And he presently is, I'm going to say again, making new friends.
Hi, I'm Mim. I play Bok Bok Kandu, the Claudite smuggler with a specialisation as thief. He's mostly just been chilling out on the planet, taking the opportunity of being among people who don't know him to make a few coins here and there, a bit of card playing, a bit of hustling, occasional pickpocketing, and on Thursdays, by appointment only, a very profitable masseuse.
Before we get into the story properly, we're going to roll our destiny pool. I'm going to start things going with 2 dark side points.
I'm in with 1 dark side point.
I'm in with 1 dark side point. Oh, good.
Oh, this is going to go well.
This is me. What did you expect? I am cursed.
Yay!
I was expecting that from Leslie.
Oh dear. So what did you add in, Mim?
2 dark side.
And Leslie's here to save the day?
I am with 2 light side. It's just the brilliance of being a bunny.
So our starting destiny pool is 6 dark and 2 light. Righto.
You're welcome, friends. We might survive this.
Oh dear. Imagine, if you will, a system falling gradually into the entropy which will claim all things. A sun swallowing the inner system planets. A gas giant with a single remaining moon, tidally locked and being gradually chipped away by the vast asteroid field that once was the capital planet of this system. Clinging to the back of this moon, protected from the worst of the celestial debris by countless overlapping ray shields, and nestled to what protection the moon's orbit can give it, lies a spacer's respite known as the Stopover. Not quite a shadow port, not quite a legitimate trade hub, the Stopover is one of many locations across the galaxy where tired crew can rest and refuel, repair and recharge, where they can find work, trade cargo and pick up supplies for the next steps of their journeys. Where vast piles of scrap dating back to the Old Republic and beyond hide technology and treasures, and where those seeking to evade the eyes of the authorities can catch their breath. A place beneath the notice of the great and the not so great, with a balance of peace all of its own maintained by those with a vested interest in keeping Imperial eyes averted. It has been 6 long months since the crew of the redoubtable Pnub fled the dreary mudball of Elmeron IV with an adorable bioweapon in their company and an unpaid debt hanging over them. It has been 3 long months since the exhausted crew went to ground on the Stopover to plan their futures and watch their shadows. And it has been 1 long month since they had enough money to pay their docking fees. We join them now in a diner where the spoons are not so much greasy as corroded, where the linoleum is peeling, the music dejected, and the seats more spring than foam. As the lights flicker overhead and a large insect lazily buzzes over a pot of coffee so thick you don't so much drink it as chew it, we see.
At the counter, there is a 6-foot-tall plus 10-inch ears bunny rabbit strolling in wearing quasi-armored looking clothing that's really just for, crash pads for wipeouts on the longboard. She kickflips the longboard and magnetizes it to her back and strolls up to the counter and says, "That is all of my deliveries done for today. Well, for now. For probably the next 15 minutes or so, unless I get another job in the next 10, in which case I'm on break for 10 minutes. And so she sits down at the bar and grins.
On the counter, there is a droid head. It is quite clearly a separatist tactical droid, one of the ones from the Clone Wars. It's not moving, but the lights are on in its eyes. 3 tiny little spider droids scurry up to it, nuzzle their way underneath, lift it up and turn it towards you and goes, "Oh good, you should sit for a while. Everybody else is here," it says, and the little spider droids kind of nestle it down a little bit more.
I'm sitting. I like sitting. I'm sitting well. How are you doing? You good, Tybern? Are we all good?
I've been better, but I made more new friends today.
Are the spider droids you're currently nestled upon new, or are they the current batch? Or a previous batch?
You know he has probably a few dozen little droids that are that carry him around. The spider droids are new and have given him a bit more animation to his to the way his head's moving. They jostle him around like he's being very conversational.
I'm thinking, because Tam is the helpful sort, if she finds neat bits and bobs in her wanderings, she offers them to you. I don't know how useful they ever are, but I think at this point she goes, oh, hold on 1 second. And she starts rifling around in one of her myriad pockets and produces just a little, articulated joint that she found probably in the trash or next to the trash somewhere. It's like, your little spidery dudes, they're really cute, I guess. But how about you get something with a beefier leg, like this thing?
One of the insects that's been flying around the diner changes its trajectory and flies down. It's a little repulsor droid with little grabby feet underneath. It lands, it picks up the joint and travels it over to the bar where it drops it. And Tybern has a look. Goes, "Oh, no, that could be useful. Thank you."
Excellent. It's not money, but it's useful. That's great.
the little repulsor droid lifts up its spindly little legs and flies off and goes back to circling the room.
Over in the corner, there's been a conversation happening. Two people seem to be holding hands. There's what looks like an elderly-ish, blue-rinsed woman holding hands with a surprisingly young-looking, yellow-green-skinned Twi'lek with twin Leku entwined, almost plaited down his back. And he seems to be sort of casually laughing and smiling with her. It seems that there's a lot of affection there. And you just see, as she gets up, he stands up as well and embraces her and just says, I'll see you next Thursday, yes, my darling? And he kisses her hand and waves as she goes out the door. And as soon as she's out the door, his whole body just slumps. And he wanders over to the table, puts 3 credits on the table and goes, I hate Thursdays. But I am slowly getting a nice collection here. I think we can do this. It'll be fine. How much is in the pot now from all of us?
I don't know. You guys don't usually let me hang on to the money for very long, so I just give it to you know, like you told me to. Oh, speaking of which, I've got a couple credits from this morning.
And where's Clutch?
I'm thinking that as Bok asks, Clutch comes over, a jumpsuit underneath a poncho, and comes, Rikers over a chair, sits down, and pulls out their 4 blasters, setting them down on the table, and just starts pulling the energy battery out of them, and sets them down, each one of them smoking as they get set down, and starts reloading the blasters. Well, I found a nest. It's gone, thankfully, but by jeez, I have not seen this infested of ships in the 3 months that we have been here. It's like they just keep showing up. Each ship, more Minox. Soon we're going to get an Exogorth.
Is that what Minox become? Is that why you have to kill them when they're so small?
Yes.
Wow.
Do exogorphs cost more for a bounty? Would it not be worth to leave them and collect a larger sum?
Exogorths may return a better bounty, but they require a lot more work and explosives. I'm not good with explosives. I know some people who are good with explosives. Well, no, but yeah, exogorths, when they get bitey.
How much are we talking? Are we talking like 20 little old ladies here?
Probably a ship worth, but the supplies needed are going to have a requisite outlay as well. I don't know that we could cover it.
Speculate to accumulate.
Yes. Thanos will reach into their breast pocket under the poncho, rifle a little bit, and then drop about 50 credits worth onto the table. This is from this morning. They're going to be paying me about 10 times that soon, when they finally pay their invoice. I have some collateral to make sure that they do.
A couple of the crab droids, not the ones that are holding up Tyburn's head, but a couple of others, slightly smaller than the crab droids that are holding up his head, climb onto the counter and they're holding just tiny amounts of credits. They crawl over to the pile and just drop them. And Tyburn says, they fell on the floor.
I mean, that's free game, right? I mean, if nobody's paying attention, they're, up for grabs. So.
Oh, we are never going to get out of here if we don't do something big. All of this, it comes in, it goes out. I mean, I want a cup of coffee, but I'm not even sure I can afford it.
I mean, I can probably get you a cup of coffee, but it'd be kind of terrible. Not from here. There's that place down the way. I think it's coffee. It's the right color for coffee.
Mostly coffee.
I haven't been brave enough to try it yet.
Apparently taste is important for you. Surely it should just be functional. Coffee is functional, correct?
It is energy to make us functional. Look, can I go change? It's the end of the day, and you know I hate wearing my Thursday clothes out.
To be fair, you do attract a lot of attention as BLE. You should probably go ahead and just do your thing. Yeah, do your thing.
He wanders to what could possibly be a restroom, or it could just be a broom closet. It doesn't really matter.
It's probably been used as both.
There's a bit of swearing, mostly because it's the end of a Thursday and he likes to let go. And out walks a perfectly nondescript, could be anybody, human, in a nice leather trench coat that he tends to keep and wear with bodies that he's comfortable with, but the Twi'lek tends to wear not much because that's part of the appeal. But yeah, he's got short, mousy brown hair, brown eyes, a little bit of stubble, completely nondescript. You'd lose him in a bar or in the street. He's like, right, I need a drink, let's go.
As you return to the table and say that and look towards the door, ready to leave the flux capacitor, the door swings open dramatically. And standing in there is a Zeltron. He has coral pink skin, which contrasts beautifully with the pure white safari suit he's wearing. It is worryingly clean for this planet. He's holding an ivory cane with a silver tip, and he walks over towards your direction with a big grin on his face. Well, howdy there. I'm Tweezem Bonk, and I'm here to make you an offer that'll change your lives. Do you mind awfully if I take a seat round here and we have a moment of discourse? I'm more than happy to provide a round of refreshments to whet the old palate while we have a little chin wag.
I mean, that sounds like a really great idea, but I have one caveat to this conversation, because you might not actually want to sit down with your whole vibe.
Oh, it's all right. Thank you so much for your concern. Given that, maybe I will stand. And he smiles disarmingly.
The Tyburn head turns towards him and says, I would like a coffee, please. And then turns back to Bok Bok, and you see clearly a light flicker on in its eye and flicker off, as if he's winking.
Just give me a moment. A coffee for everybody, or do some of y'all have more refined tastes? And he smiles again.
I could have refined taste. Should I have refined taste? I think that sounds like a good plan. That's how you go up in the world, right?
Yes.
Something refined. Refined coffee.
The Zeltron looks over at the smelter droid, Eddie, who runs this place, who's standing behind the counter looking glum, and goes, well, I think maybe refined might be his stock in trade, if you pardon the expression.
Dennis will start clearing the blasters off of the counter, slowly, obviously, and then look over to the fine, upstanding person here and say, well, I could use a whiskey. A nice Corellian whiskey would be nice. It's been a while.
Now that I'm not sure our charming host may have behind the bar. However, he reaches into the inside of this jacket and pulls out a gilded hip flask, which he then passes over to you. I came suitably prepared.
'Tis much appreciated. With a fifth hand, we'll reach out and grab take the flask, take a nosh of it, and hand it back.
I'll be back in just a moment. And he sachets over to the counter, speaks briefly to Eddie. Eddie kind of footles around behind the counter for a little bit, and in the end comes back with several cups that are mostly clean, and a big old jug of coffee that is worryingly thick. Sorry, this is all we have. That'll be just fine. And he takes the tray and he brings it over and he puts it down. Please help yourselves.
Bok Bok's just gonna casually lean on the bar, as if he's about to say, oh thanks Eddie, that'll do grand, and then just sweeps the few credits that had been put in front of everybody back into his coat.
You take with you one of the little crab droids.
I was wondering who we entrusted with the money.
Tweezem, kind of, once you've got yourself a drink, he smiles again. So, I'm here, my friends, with something of a business proposition for y'all. I represent a concern you may have heard of, the Zaffa Corporation. My employers understand you may have recently come into possession of a certain curiosity of a legomorphic nature, which many folks out there are very, very interested in. My employers are prepared to offer you the sum of 1,500 credits, as well as clearing your docking fees. If you were to consider perhaps an exchange of said rarity, and perhaps the possibility of future employment for a corporation that surely does look after their employees and wants everyone to make the best of themselves.
As the conversation started, Tam was just drinking her coffee, and he mentions the whole acquisition, and the ears go straight up. And then as the identification of the lagomorphic shape, as it were, continues, the ears go straight back. And now she's now sitting very hunched over, very small in and of herself, and the one leg is going rapidly.
Tyburn turns towards Tam and then turns back towards our guest and says, I'm sorry, she is part of the crew.
Mate, you're turning the coffee into a cappuccino here. Can you stop that?
I'm sure you may well consider they have become part of the crew, but I assure you, I am not referring to your leper friend here. However, I understand that such a conversation coming out of the blue as it has, out of the blue, is not something y'all are gonna want to make a snap decision of. So, allow me to present you with my business card and com code. A small amount of credits as a courtesy for hearing me out, and I'll leave you to have a discussion about the most beneficial future for all of y'all. I assure you your little friend will live a life of luxury. And he hands over a calling card which has the logo of the Zypher Corporation on, then on the back a com number and a handful of credits. Thank you so much for your time. I hope to be hearing from y'all very soon. And he nods, and he turns still with this big old smile on his face, and he sachets out of the diner, and the door closes behind him.
I don't like him. I don't like him.
I do not trust him. Not one bit.
We're not selling you, Tam.
Well, thank you. That is very comforting. Just, how does he know who we are?
How does anybody know who anybody is?
Nobody knows who we are.
We know who we are,
Do we?
don't we?
Wait a second. Well, I mean, maybe they saw our ship leave. I mean, we did kind of run away. And if they saw the ship, they might have been able to work out who was on it. And they might have had, I don't know, maybe some kind of security cameras in that facility.
In the Imperial facility?
I mean, we didn't leave a lot of the facility standing, did we? Several holes in it.
You're right there.
I was a hole.
You still are a hole.
Give me a second, I can't think like this. And Tyburn's eyes flicker a bit, and then out of the corners of everywhere in the diner starts crawling and buzzing and pulsar lifting in dozens upon dozens of droids that start floating in, floating under the counter, and as if they are doing their best chewing gum impression. They just hover underneath where our legs are. Ah, that's better. Oh, he doesn't want to buy you at all, Tam. Silly me, my brain was elsewhere.
I still haven't gotten used to this. The whole rebuilding yourself thing. It's a little disconcerting. But if we're not going to take his money, we need to find somebody else's money to take. Because if they know we're here, other people know we're here, and we don't want to be here where people know we are.
I didn't suggest we shouldn't take his money. I just don't think we should give him anything for it. He seemingly has too much.
Don't trust anyone that clean.
Exactly.
No one should be that clean.
Not here. No. We should never be that clean here.
I'd like to be that clean once.
If somebody's that clean, I can bet you bottom dollar that they're dirty. Where did that come from? Sorry, that was the wrong accent there.
Were you shifting partway through that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dirty.
What do we know about the Zypher Corporation?
What do we know about the Zypher Corporation?
Yes, there's an excellent
Okay,
question.
let's roll some dice. What do we know about the... Is it Zaffer or Zypher?
Zypher.
Zypher. Oh, it's just my pronunciation. The Zypher Corporation?
So I'd be happy with either a history or a streetwise or potentially a warfare. A knowledge of some form. The difficulty either way is going to be 2 purple, but depending on what knowledge you use is what kind of knowledge you get, if you ken me.
Alright then, I would like to do streetwise. Streetwise or underworld, but I think I'm going to go for streetwise.
Oh yeah, knowledge underworld's a thing, isn't it?
Should I go for underworld actually? Because that's an intelligence check and that seems sensible because it's knowledge. So I'll go knowledge underworld.
Be sensible.
Alright, so that's not too bad. That's 2 success and an advantage.
Okay, I'm going to go warfare. That's 1 success for me, but also 1 disadvantage.
All right, and I went for streetwise, so We're going to get all the information on every side.
Yeah, but the only one that I'm even close to decent with would be Streetwise, so I'd prefer to go with that.
This is where we all lean in and go, well, I tell you what I know. Well, I've heard.
Except for Tam, who goes, did you actually ever hear this? I was on the street the other day, and I was just listening to this guy comment. She just rattles it off with a triumph,
Oh,
Nice.
a success, and 3 threats.
I mean, fair.
So, in terms of the threats that have all been spent,
uh-huh.
I will deal with them straight away. They are all getting banked.
Okay.
There's a clock that we can't see.
Yes, to be used for nefarious things in the sadness clock. You can do similar with your advantages if you have no immediate ideas what to use for your advantages.
Cool.
Ben, you're the other one who's not announced your role so far.
I failed my roll, but I did get 3 advantages. And I do actually have an idea for the advantages considering where I just came from. Mm-hmm. My thought being is, since I essentially hang out at the spaceport and essentially clean off most of the ships that come in, that they seem to go through the Minoc fields to get to us. It lands, I go through, clean off the Minocs. So it's this new ship that came in, really weird design, at least for the ones that are around here, like also super clean. So I come up with where this guy's ship is, the Zeltrons.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell me what type of ship it is?
I think it's a Skyyacht 3000. It looks kind of like one of the skiffs from Return of the Jedi, but built up on the top with a actual cabin, and it's a lot bigger. It looks like on the back there actually would be room in atmosphere for a pool, and it's a 2-level deal with a nice ramp out back. It isn't chromed like it's Nubian, but it is definitely, it's all painted one color. It's got wonderful pinstriping on it. It looks like it just came from a ship dealer's yard.
Yes, it is called the Business. Just the Business. I'm more than happy with that. Yes, you know where Tweezum has parked. You know what their ship is. For the rest of you, what I'll do then is I'll kind of pool what you've heard into one thing, given there's a couple of different sources going in. And then Leslie will have a talk about your triumph once I've kind of given you the core bits. So, the Zypher Corporation are a corporation with a very wide product and customer base, which ranges from inexplicable tat that they sell to people who want to be known for having inexplicable tat. You know, like bragging right curiosities.
Do you mean like how you can buy a solid silver tin can from Tiffany's and it's kind of an art piece, that kind of quality of tat? Expensive tat.
Yes. Very expensive tat that is mostly there so that you can say you have it. And to admit that you don't know what any of it actually does is considered extremely, you never admit that. The most popular ones at the moment being the Ooblex, which is what really got them on the market. And their most recent one is the recondite saxifrage, which is all the rage in the inner core amongst a lot of the noble houses. Everybody wants a recondite saxifrage. They also sell a wide selection of random semi-useful items, the sort of stuff that you don't know that you're missing until you see someone selling it and go, oh, that sounds like a really good idea. Then you buy it, then you never use it. Anything from JVC. That sort of stuff.
Strawberry decorers. Pineapple peelers.
Yeah, all that sort of, again, they generally have made their money selling tat to people that buy that tat because they think it's cool and then never actually use it. They manufacture things that people own but don't use. And even the stuff that they try to market as being good and useful still never actually get used. It's all that sort of useless talking point gear. There are rumblings that they also have a number of divisions that do, not sub-companies, subsidiaries. A number of other subsidiaries that are involved in less savoury dealings. But it's never been quite clear exactly what that is because, again, there's kind of mutters on the street from slicers that you may have known who've tried to do hits on them to get some money out of them. There are lots of shell companies within shell companies within shell companies in there. They have a lot of money and a lot of purchasing power, but no one's entirely sure what it is they actually do. Leslie, you have a triumph.
I would like to have the kind of tidbit that doesn't mean anything to me, but has an immense amount of weight to at least one other person at the table. Like maybe I mention a name, or I have a specific incident that's brought up. I don't know. Or maybe I bring up a competitor. I don't know. Something that is mentioned offhanded, but connects a dot.
So, one of the bits that you picked up amongst kind of your various ear to the ground over is you mostly know about the Zypher Corporation because on one of the various worlds that you've lived on, where you've been doing courier work from before you ended up on Elmeron IV and then before you ended up on here, there was almost a turf war going on between some of the officers of the Zypher Corporation and some of the officers of another company called Chulta Bioetherics, which is an Arcanian company. There were a lot of dirty tricks going on as couriers from either side tried to intercept packages, deliveries, and information drops, and there was talk of corporate espionage going on between these two corporations. Eventually, it was almost like a detente was called, where it just got too unprofitable for both parties to carry on this, and they agreed to go on their separate ways. I think Thanos,
Okay.
having been around on the outer rim for a fair bit, you will have encountered that Chulta Bioetherics, it's rumoured they've been involved in the cloning business. I mean, Arcanians are known for genetic engineering and that sort of stuff, but Chulta Bioetherics is one of their R&D arms, effectively.
Oh, great. The way you talk about it, that makes me think that we have cloners here, and that it didn't end with too wonderful for everyone last time.
I have opinions about clones.
You might indeed. Now, I do not want to see Sir Hopsalot get into any trouble with cloners, so how do we make sure that that does not happen?
I find dead organics stop being persistent.
For a second there, I thought you were going to suggest that dead organics were less interesting to other organics, and I was a little worried about your train of thought. But no, that's a valid point. It's hard to be interested in things when you can't be anything but dead. I guess you can be dead and decomposing.
Once you are deceased, your hobbies drop right off.
Unless you collect fungus.
Updating database. Thank you.
Actually, this is something I meant to bring up. Like, what are we doing with, excuse me, Laird Benedict Cumberbund Kendig Hopscotch the 13th? Does he have, like, a hutch somewhere on the ship? Or do we have him stashed somewhere? Because I actually was thinking, I mean, I carry, like, a backpack. Maybe it's like one of those cat bags where there's little,
Yes.
windows or something.
I very much like the fact that he's with us right now, and we're going, no, you can't have him.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. But nobody thinks twice because, I'm a courier, so I always have some sort of, stuff on me.
You think, did I see an ear sticking out of that bag? No, I must have just seen your ear flopping over the bag. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a lot of movement, so, She's not still. So I'm thinking maybe she's got like a hip pouch that actually folds open, and there he is just hanging out, got some munchies.
Yeah.
He likes going on errands with me. It makes it more interesting than just sitting on the ship. Also, sometimes I find him treats.
Also, sometimes he gets out of his hutch,
Yes.
no matter how well it's locked.
And yet, we never remember opening the door. So, do we wanna, sneak up on him and jump him? I'm good at that.
How much in the way of credits did he give us? He said he was giving us a talking fee. Is there credits on the table?
Yeah, it's 150.
How much do we need to clear?
About $1,000, thereabouts.
So we're a portion of the way there. Not a large portion, but a portion. Because Bak is right. I mean, day-to-day expenses.
Do you think? I mean, is that a particularly recognisable bunny? I mean, is there anyone on here that sells bunnies? We could just do a bait and switch.
What if there's somebody who sells guinea pigs? We just put
I
ears
think I
on
know
it.
the difference between a bunny and a guinea pig.
Clutch, you said you knew where his ship was.
Yes.
Okay, so what do we do? Shall we scout out his ship?
I think we should check out his ship. Yeah.
I mean, I am just checking. Do we care about the bunny?
I care about the bunny.
From Ober's pocket, you see one of Sir Hopsalot's ears just kind of droop. Then go back inside the pocket.
I'm not meaning it personally, mate. It's just, that's a lot of money. And, you know, you're going to be part of a fantastic career opportunity.
We don't know how much they're offering yet. They just gave us a conversational fee. We haven't discussed how much they would pay us for the bunny.
You said 1,500.
It's got to be better than me massaging little old ladies for the next month.
To be fair, that was your life choice, not ours.
Yes, none of the rest of us are doing that.
Also, yes, we care about the bunny.
We do. Benedict is part of the crew.
Question. Do we know if this interloper has any docking fees? I mean, maybe we just trade up for ships.
There's an idea.
Do we actually have a slicer? I don't remember our particular skill trees. Or do we have somebody who can slice?
I'm a slicer, but not in a computer way. I carry around a big sword. He calls himself a slicer. He doesn't. You think he doesn't know what he's talking about?
I'm just picturing, like, I can become the ship.
Okay, that also is kind of cool.
I'm not bad at bypassing security doors if I've got a little time.
I mean, even if we don't take the ship per se, I bet we could find some bits and bobs that are worth something.
This is a good point, yes.
I mean, the soap alone he must have on that ship would be worth something on this place.
Yes. Yes. Let's steal his soap. I like this plan.
What about the nice stuff that you kind of get for Life Day, you know? The really nice stuff, the quality stuff, like the Bayliss and Harding quality.
I mean, I won't lie. It's creepy and a jerk, but he smelled really nice.
I don't have a nose. Conversational.
You can just see Bok Bok. How do you smell? And he looks at you with absolute anticipation that surely even a droid knows.
Ah, a joke. Processing. Punchline not found.
Terrible, you smell terrible, man. I've got no nose. How do I smell? No, wait.
I don't. I have already told you I have no nose. Are you malfunctioning?
Adding joke to repository.
You're killing me here.
Ask again.
No, the moment's passed. The moment's passed.
Bok Bok. I am ready.
No, I'm not feeling it anymore.
I smell terrible.
Oh, you butchered it, man.
Good try, buddy. Good try.
All right. So either we're going to steal a top-of-the-range pleasure cruiser, or we're going to go in there and nick his soap.
Well, I mean, we don't just have to take his soap. His clothes were nice, too.
His clothes were nice. And there was a cane. Like, there's just many things.
I think it's important to say, Bok Bok, that it shouldn't be either. If we steal the pleasure cruiser, we're stealing the soap as well.
I mean, you got a point there.
Removing the soap before we steal the pleasure cruiser will be a step we don't need to do.
You can see Bok Bok getting incredibly tense and starting to rub his temples and going, "Thanks for pointing that out. That's very helpful, mate."
Aren't you glad you have a tactical droid with you right now?
Absolutely.
Well, 25% of one at least.
I'm just thinking, if we nick anything off his ship, we still can't get away. We still got docking port fees. I think we should probably either take the ship and go, or not get involved. I mean, maybe we can't not get involved. I have a feeling this guy's not going to take no for an answer.
Alternately, what we can do is we can actually go steal some stuff from other people and put it on his ship and start a gang war with him, with us not being in the picture. And then we can just avoid it all and let other people deal with him.
But then we need to pay docking fees.
Well, yeah, but then we can go back to what we were doing, except for maybe changing up Thursdays, for instance.
Moving them to Wednesdays?
I think that sounds like a great idea. One day sooner?
Oh no, not Orange Wednesdays again. It's 2 for 1.
All I know is I've been sitting here for at least 15 minutes, so I should probably go get another job because I've been doing the math, or at least what math I can do. And I'm going to need to do a lot more running to do more, useful things to gain more. Yeah, it's a whole scale. Like, people know me, but they don't know me. And they don't give me more money because they don't know me. But once they know me, and they can give me more money to do more things.
Yes, that seems sensible. Shall we go and have a look at the ship? And while you look for another job?
Okay.
You can do that on your datapad, correct?
Well, I usually talk to people and look at the boards, and then, I do have the datapad. But, I can do that. It's just, I like talking to people better. But okay.
Face to face. Pressing the metal. I understand.
Just keep the bunny in the bag, okay? We don't want them to see it.
Okay. Tam will dig in one pocket, pull out a very sad-looking bit of vegetation, stuff it in the other bag, and zip the bag shut and pat the bag very gingerly. Like, there you go, buddy.
For someone who obviously does not care at all about this Legomorph, you also see a slightly sad-looking carrot-type vegetable being pulled out of the jacket and then hastily shoved back in because you've just fed them.
Let's go, shall we?
Do you want to ride, or are you gonna do your thing with the bits?
I'm learning how to move very quickly. I think I might be able to swing a sword.
About as well as you can spell. But let's go!
Yes, terrible. Tyburn kind of amasses into a large pile of droids, and some of the floater droids come down and attach themselves to his head and raise him up to about head height, and all the crab droids crawl underneath as he walks. It's disconcerting.
I was about to say, you're a nightmare.
Yeah. I'm a Gestalt droid entity. I am just horrific.
You're terrific. You incite terror.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. I think as you leave the flux capacitor, can I have a group perception test, please? I'm going to flip a dark side point. And your difficulty is going to be 1 red, 2 purple, and a boost.
Somebody else roll it. I have 1 green in perception.
I've got 2 yellow and a green in perception.
All right, that beats my 2 green and a yellow.
I have 3 ranks that I bring to the table, but I only have 2 cunning.
So that'd be 3 yellow and a boost then from party contribution, I think.
Sounds right.
Sounds in the ballpark.
What's your cunning, Mim? Sorry, is your cunning 3 or 4?
3.
Yeah, so 3 yellow and 2 boost. 1 from Thanos' contribution and 1 for, well, let's see how the roll goes and you might well find out what the extra boost is for.
Yeah, somebody else should roll this because I have touched my dice, therefore they are cursed.
I mean...
Leslie, you've already brought 1 triumph to the table.
Okay, this is going to be great. What was my difficulty again?
1 red, 2 purple, and I say a boost that's factored in as well.
1 or 2 boost?
2 boosts in total.
Can I aim my perception? I can totally aim my perception, right?
I've got an unspent advantage as well.
Yeah, you can have another boost from that.
Can you put another boost in? Knowing that this guy is from a high-end corporation, I'm kind of already expecting that he's probably got his eyes on us.
Just want to say...
Oh, it's a blank red.
Nice.
A blank red. We are left with 4 success and an advantage. Every boost showed up.
Huzzah!
As you come out of the flux capacitor and make your way into the streets of the Stopover, your keenly honed Leppy paranoia immediately flags up to you that you are currently being watched by 4 people. They have taken positions kind of on the street, and they are doing an absolutely terrible, terrible job of trying not to watch you and blending in with the normal people of the Stopover. And one of the main reasons why they're blending in so badly is because when they stop paying attention, they accidentally drop into parade rest and then catch themselves and then pull themselves to just trying to be normal, definitely non-specific spaces and not what is clearly a squad of very badly disguised stormtroopers. And I think as you notice these tails waiting in the streets for you, that's where I'm going to end this episode. Thank you very, very much to my players as always. Ben and Leslie, do you want to tell the people where they can find you?
Well, You can find me on Twitter at deuteriumice, or you can find me and my other projects at thehydianway.com or the Hydian Way on Twitter.
I am at LesletGS, as I have always been and will continue to be.
And Mikey Mim, you don't get one. We know who you are. You're here, and occasionally at Dungeon Mature.
You don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through.
You know what I've been through.
Not even occasionally at Dungeon Mature. You are also here at Dungeon Mature, because you
Yeah.
are core cast for that too.
You never get rid of me.
And before we leave you, this episode's patron is Kira. As well as displaying an impeccable taste in excellent podcasts, Kira has also suggested that at some point down the line, what needs to happen is a Roy and Prinkle crossover episode. Now, I'm not sure whether or not the wider Force Majeure universe could handle the chaos that would ensue from such a crossover. That isn't to say that it's never going to happen. I will have to put my heads together with the rest of my cast and see what happens as we get to the midpoint of the next season, or even the end of next season, depending on how things go. After all, it's not like mid-season one-shots with guest characters and interesting mashups have never happened before on this show, so you'll have to leave that with me and we'll see what we can do. Until then, stay safe, remain delightful. Thank you very, very much for backing the show, and thank you to everybody for listening. Look after yourselves, my loves, and we will see you next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.